This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, and the stories that leads today's show are Mac OS High Sierra has been released, but with it comes a Mac zero-day security hack. We're going to talk about building your own SNES Classic console. We're going to talk about a new computer science initiative, and of course, the iPhone 8 drop test. Of course, plus all the news of the day. I want to welcome you to episode 1229 of the Geek News Center podcast for Monday, September 25th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/insider, or great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And you can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider, or simply paypal.me/geeknews. You can pick up Ohana gear at cafepress.com/Ohana store. I want to give a warm welcome to all the longtime listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Started to get the show ready to go tonight and pulled the trigger a little bit too early and didn't have one of the recording systems set up. But now we're fully ready to rock and get the show in the can for you. But for those of you that are brand new, what we really want you to take some time to get over to geeknewscentral.com. Check out all the great content on the website. We want you to get subscribed to the show via Apple Podcasts, on Android, via email, Google Play, Stitcher, on TuneIn, or just use an old school RSS feed. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, definitely use the more subscribe option in the right-hand column to look and see how you get subscribed to the show. Of course, a little bit further down the website is a place for you to get subscribed to the newsletter as well. And again, visit Geek News Central on a daily basis for all our great content being put together by the writing team over there. We want you to be part of the Ohana, okay? If you have a comment on today's show, you can email me, geeknews@gmail.com. If you want to follow on Twitter, @geeknews. If you want to join our Slack channel, just drop me an email and tell me you want to be part of the Slack channel. You can follow me on Google Plus or Facebook by just searching for my name, Todd Cochran. You watch this show on the Roku, on the Apple TV. You can listen on Amazon Echo. You can listen on Stitcher, watch review on Blueberry.com, or tell your Google Home device to play the podcast Geek News Central. Of course, partner shows include No Better Than Average with Jacob and Jeff, The Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, the Pro Gear site being written by the GNC team. Of course, we've got the Podcast Legends show, the new media show as well that I'm involved with. But, all this really would not be possible without our longtime sponsor, and that's GoDaddy.com. And we hope that you'll take just a few minutes to get over to basically geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And when you're on the page, you're going to find all the deals there, whether it be 30% off new product purchase at 99cent.com, whether it be $1 a month economy hosting, $1 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. That's $12 a year for the first year for that economy hosting and managed WordPress hosting with a free domain. It's a deal you just can't deny is absolutely outstanding. So, of course, if you're a business owner, you may want to look at that GoDaddy website builder. Your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. All these deals can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. We want you to share these codes with your friends, family members, people that you know, acquaintances. It's really important. It helps us out here a great deal, helps us keep the lights on, keep things moving forward, allowing me to do what I do, keep family fed and so forth, insurance paid. So definitely check out all our deals again at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Just because you guys caught up here a little bit, yes, back in the studio, obviously. And again, thanks to Kirk, our executive producer, for putting together a lot of the program tonight. I did dig around a little bit and found a few extra things to review. And but I'll have to be honest with you. On Saturday, I had a pretty rough travel day, and it's my own doing. I I got done with clients on Friday, and then we all basically went to the bar. And here's something you shouldn't do when you're 53. You shouldn't drink too much and then get on an airplane. My flight home Saturday was pretty rough. I think by the time I got to, because I had a hop to Chicago, Chicago to San Francisco. About the three-quarters of the way to San Francisco, I was kind of, uh, you know, doing better. But every once in a while, you just have to, I don't know what it is. The body like resets, and it forgets that you're not supposed to do these things. And I wasn't necessarily hungover, but it was just you don't get on a plane after having a big party day the day before, being a little bit dehydrated. So by the time I got home, which was pretty late on Saturday, my wife picked me up at the airport, and I just got in the car, and she kind of looked at me, and she goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, let's not even talk about it. Let's go home." And got home and cleaned up and some food, and by about 9:30, I was sawing some logs, but yeah, little rough travel day on the way back. So I think I'm good for another 5 years. I won't be doing that stupid thing again. But oh, that's the worst because you're already going into an environment where you're already dehydrated. And oh man, man, oh man, oh man. So yeah, a little bit rough on my travel day on Saturday. But yesterday, my son had a birthday party, hanging out at the beach, and you guys probably saw some of the drone video and stuff I put up on Facebook yesterday. But anyway, that's no here nor there. We're back in the saddle here. So just to let you know, show schedule, definitely gonna be a show on Thursday this week, and then I have a big day on Saturday. It's all about the International Podcast Day, a couple of presentations, the podcast awards. It's gonna be a big day Saturday, and then Sunday. I fly out to destinations not being revealed. And because if I said where I was going, there would be a little bit um, too much speculation in the space. I have to just do that. So definitely no show a week from today on Monday, and then I'm probably going to try to get a stand-in for Thursday. It's a very full week for me, and so anyway, that's that. And Cloak and Dagger, I'll let you guys know later what's going on here. But big week next week for me. So just to let you know on the show schedule. But anyway, two shows. Obviously, one show today, and then of course the next show on Thursday, and then new media show. And we've got again, thanks for International Podcast Day, the Podcast Awards. So big content week for me here. But definitely appreciate everyone's patience on things that are going on. Okay, so let me. I think that's it. I will say one thing too. I feel like I'm a little bit behind the eight ball, even though we're not quite into October yet. I'm a little bit behind the eight ball for planning. I start getting weirded out. So going to be doing a little bit of that this week. Event planning for CES and other events for next year. And it's just gonna get gonna catch up to me in a really fast way. So anyway, that's it. Let's go ahead and get into the stack. A little bit of a I get a little itty bitty of a sore throat or something going on, and just too much being in the air. And I was taking care of myself, except for that Friday. Got a little too large uh, in the uh, in the party department. But again, sometimes you just do these things. And you're like the next day you're paying for it, and you're like, what did you do, you knucklehead? All right, so shout out H2O here, and we'll get going. The Apple's announced earlier this year at the Worldwide Developers Conference. They announced the Mac OS High Sierra update to all compatible devices across the globe. And like previous updates before, Mac OS High Sierra is available as a free download from the Mac App Store. Don't expect a major redesign or anything, as some of the biggest changes have been made under the hood. Supported machine includes all Macs from 2010 and later. There are some iMac and MacBook models from 2009 that are capable of upgrading, but Apple chooses to make some of the more significant changes under the hood. High Sierra has a new file system called Apple File System, AFS. It also brings support for more efficient photo and video standards, including HEIF and HEVC, respectively. The new video standard efficiently handles 4K without taking up too much storage on the machine. Other than that, there are some improvements that users will see. This includes improvements to the Siri experience, new editing tools in photos, changes in the way Safari handles auto-playing videos and tracking and more. And Apple's now rolling out High Sierra compatible machines across the globe, and you'll receive an over-the-air update. Now, with this rollout, was announced a password theft zero-day bug imperils users of High Sierra in earlier Mac OS versions. Rogue apps can exfiltrate all plain text passwords, no password required. So this vulnerability in High Sierra and early versions of Mac OS allows rogue applications to do what is not supposed to be done. It allows you to get into your Mac keychain. The researcher said Monday that the same day the widely anticipated app was released, he basically did an online video and demoed this. The video shows a Mac virtual machine running High Sierra as it installs an app. Once the app is installed, the video shows an attacker on a remote server running the Netcat networking utility. When the attacker clicks Exfil keychain button in the app surreptitiously, it exfiltrates all the passwords stored in the keychain and uploads them to his server. The theft requires no user interaction beyond the initial installment of the rogue app, and neither the app nor the macOS provided any warning or seeks permission. Now, Apple did email a statement. They said macOS is designed to be secured by default, and Gatekeeper warns users against installing unsigned apps, like the one shown in the proof of concept, and prevents them from launching app without explicit approval. We encourage users to download software only from trusted sources like the Mac App Store and pay careful attention to security dialogues that Mac OS presents. By default, Gatekeeper prevents Mac users from installing apps unless they're digitally signed by the developer. Well, then Apple Video is unsigned and as a result can be installed on a default Mac installation. It can't be installed on a default Mac installation. The vulnerability can be exploited by signed apps as well. All that's required to digitally sign an app is membership in the Apple Developer Program, which costs $99 per year. Ward reported the vulnerability to Apple last month and decided to make the disclosure public when the company released High Sierra without fixing it first. So, again, with all the stuff going on, better be running antivirus and malware applications on your Macs. If you're not, you're setting yourself up for a big, 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 big surprise someday. Something's going to get true, and you're going to be left crying. I can't tell you the number of alerts I get on my Macs. So just be aware. There's stuff out there running rogue. Over in PC World, they've got a pretty cool video. They break down how to build a SNES Classic RetroPie emulator console. And it's not too complicated. And they give you a link to all the stuff you need to buy, and really steps you through the process and how to do it. So I'll have the link up in the show notes. You can definitely check that out. Something to consider if you want to build your own. I don't know how the price breaks down, but it is available. and the instruction videos there. I want to talk a little bit about, of course, most of the stuff that happens in DC these days is just, it's a lot of ridiculousness going on, right? So when something is announced that is important and never gets covered, I think it's important for us in the tech side to hear this. So the president's daughter unveiled a new federal computer science initiative with major tech backers. It has Amazon, Facebook, Google will commit to support coding education. So this directive is designed to supercharge the U.S. government's support for science, tech, engineering, and mathematics, including coding education, as the White House seeks to train workers for high-demand computer science jobs of the future. To start, the president is set to sign a presidential memorandum at the White House, a policy first reported by Ari Kove that asked the Department of Education to devote at least $200 million of its grant funds each year to so-called STEM fields. And on Tuesday, the Ivanka and the president is expected to head to Detroit, where they will join business leaders for an event unveiling a series of private sector commitments, again from Amazon, Facebook, Google, GM, Quicken Loans, Salesforce, and others, meant to boost U.S. coding and computer science classes and programs. Multiple sources confirmed today. The exact total of the financial budget pledge is unclear, and the White House did not provide further details about industry participants today. So this is important. We are in a time now where less than half of the U.S. high schools offer any type. Half of the high schools in the United States offer any type of computer science classes. And that's according to an estimate from Code.org, which has worked with both the prior administration and the current administration on the issue. To that end, Apple Chief Executive Tim Cook urged the president to make coding a requirement in public schools when they joined the president and other tech leaders at the White House so-called Tech Week this past June. So we'll see what happens here. But I think it's important for those of us that live here in the United States to fully understand where the country's headed and the type of education and skills that we're going to need to remain competitive and really to move the world forward. Time goes on, and there's going to be those with math skills and logic skills. You're going to have a place to use those skills in the computer science, computer engineering, computer programming fields in a big way. So it's anything, everything from robotics to UAVs to artificial intelligence. It just goes on and on and on and on. Uh, it's you look at the vehicles and what we're doing now with technology to have vehicles that drive themselves. All that stuff are going to need a lot of people to build and support infrastructure software that's going to go along with it. So I'm glad to see this initiative and look forward to see what they announce in Detroit. We'll keep you advised. All right. Next thing up is the iPhone 8 drop test that was done by Uber Gizmo. Not good. It seems that while the glass back holds up well under scratches, it does not do so well when dropped. This is despite Apple's claim of a reinforced glass. In the video, the folks at Phone Buff decided to test the iPhone 8 against the Samsung Galaxy Note, which also has a glass back. In this case, neither phone survived the drop test, with both handsets having their glass backs shattered. While Phone Buff suggests that the cracks in the Note 8 appear to be more severe, this is only one test, so it's hard to consider it conclusive. But if you just spend a big bunch of money, like my daughter did a couple of years ago, and drops the phone and breaks the screen within a few days of getting it, you are going to just absolutely, oh, so I got a pop-up ad here, not be happy. Okay, I don't need to see the ad. So what's going on now is when these sites, they do not allow you to close the ads anymore on demand. You have to wait for them to load. It just drives me nuts. So it gives you this big pop up, and they got the X to close it, and you can't close it. But anyway, an Uber Gizmo where they put the very annoying pop up, and there's another one here at the bottom of the screen. They need money big time. It shows the end results of the cracked screens, and so sad. It's just criminal what they did to those phones. But get a case for them, okay? If you are wondering about the Tesla Model 3, owners are sharing more info on the model. According to Slashdot, and it's been a while since we picked one of these up. Owners at the Model 3 Owners Club compiled a list of over 80 different features of the Model 3. They're curious about, including questions about how the car operates. Does the car unlock all doors? Where does the UI show that you turn signals are active? Physical aspects of the car. All this stuff is being answered. So anyway, I'll have to link up the show notes on that. So if you're interested in the Tesla Model 3, you can get some more info here. Would the next world war be started over a tweet? Well, if the maniacs in North Korea have their way, yeah, they basically said that the president's tweet, uh, basically saying that their leader should go bye bye, was a declaration of war. You know, it's a lot of bluster here, but it shows the perils of diplomacy in the Twitter era. And you probably can't start a war with a tweet, but that isn't stopping North Korea from claiming otherwise. So, yeah, to the North Koreans. But that whole situation is going to come to a head at some point. They keep pushing, and they keep being stupid. I don't think this is the president you want to mess around with. I just don't think this is the guy you want to push too hard. British Airways has got a new tug. This is pretty cool. Um, Jack, I know that they've had some of these tugs before, but they've usually been attached with a tether. But from renewable fuels to eco-friendly airplane tugs, British Airways is essentially moving their airplanes with a remote-controlled vehicle. And they've got 5 of these new Molotok remote-controlled electric-friendly vehicles that can push the aircraft back from the gates. They replace the standard diesel tugs that you typically see at airports. So the single ramp engine can push an aircraft out with a little control device worn on their belt. And British Airways claims that it's the first airline worldwide to implement these tugs. Now, they're not pushing them out by themselves. It's not a device that is without human intervention. So you don't have to worry if you're getting pushed out by British Airways, electric tug. There is a human that is involved in the operation of the tug. But no hands, Mom. It's all wireless. Australia has announced it's going to create its own space agency. This year, the International Aeronautical Congress is being held in Adelaide, Australia, and the opening ceremonies of the meeting of all things space, including a special announcement that the Australian government announced that it will establish a new national space agency with the hopes of growing Australia's already vibrant space industry. So congratulations to them. And their industry is now worth about $4 billion, and employs about 11,500 people. But they want to grow. They want to get bigger. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens here. And one of our space tracking stations is, I believe, in Adelaide. I may be wrong, but anyway, it's over there. But nice to see the Australians jumping in the game here. The Chinese deorbited one of their cargo spacecraft. This was a planned event. The Tianzhou 1 has been deorbited under orders. Following a set of braking maneuvers, the robotic cargo ship plunged into the Earth atmosphere and burned up late Friday, Beijing time, according to China's state-run Xinhua News Agency. And the Tianzhou 1 launched on April 20th and docked at the China's orbiting Tianzhong 2 Space Lab 2 days later. And they've been, doing a lot of testing up there in preparation for them having their own space, space station. Elon Musk is going to be making an announcement here in a few days, and he is wants to talk about how we're going to get to Mars, and it's going to be unveiled this week at the same event in Australia at the IAC, and he's going to be talking in depth about how SpaceX is planning to get to Mars and some advancements they've made in technology. There's a new video out about how they're going to make it happen. Pretty slick. I'll let you take a look at it. It'll be in the show notes for you to review. But this guy's serious. Is he going to get there in the time frame that he's saying? I might live to see it. It'd be cool if they did. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes. Speaking of China, in Shanghai, well, in China at large, they've largely blocked the WhatsApp messaging app. The latest move by Beijing to step up surveillance ahead of the big Communist Party gathering next month. The disabling in mainland China of the Facebook-owned app is definitely a setback for Facebook, whose chief executive Mark Zuckerberg has been pushing to re-enter the Chinese market. It is but in studying the Chinese language intensively. Mark, just remember, they are the communist China. And they're getting ready to have their big Communist Party meeting. You operate inside China at the behest of the government. They can shut you down, as you have found out, at any time. And but anyway, WhatsApp is locked out in China. No can do, no can use. So again, freedom is not free everywhere. Over on vitals.lifehacker.com, did you know there's no need to count your steps per minute when running? Your iPhone already knows this. We all know that a high cadence is a good part of running form. Most pros take upwards of 180 steps per minute. When I'm on the cross trainer, mine is like 142, 143. That's where I top out at. Of course, I don't know if the cross trainer, if that's good or not. But you don't have to count your steps the old-fashioned way. Your iPhone is already keeping track. To see your step counts, go to the Health app, tap on your recent step count, then tap Show All Data. Are people running are you running with your phone? I guess you are. I think it would be annoying to run with the phone. The Apple Watch, that's the way to go. I don't have mine on right now, but that's what I use at the gym is my Apple Watch. I wonder if the Apple Watch would do it without having to carry the iPhone. But link will be up in the show notes for those of you looking to see how that's done. Hey, in Dubai, they've started testing basically they're testing what they hoped it will become flying taxis. Dubai staged a test flight on Monday for what it said would soon be the world's first drone taxi service under an ambitious plan by the United Arab Emirates city to lead the Arab world in innovation. The flying taxi, developed by the German drone firm Volocopter, resembles a small two-seater helicopter cabin topped by a wide hoop studded with 18 propellers. So the Crown Prince was in it, got a picture. This would be pretty cool if they figure out how to get this out and make it work and be safe and a quick way to get around town. Imagine these flying from rooftop to rooftop in New York City buildings. I think that would be awesome. Microsoft and Facebook have completed a massive undersea data cable. It can support up to 160 terabytes per second. It's known as the Mara Crossing, Marea, which means tide in Spanish. It lies over 17,000 feet below the Atlantic Ocean surface, and it's about 4,000 miles long. It weighs in at 10.25 million pounds. The data rates, of course, is incredible. We already talked about. What's really interesting about Mara, though, is it has an open design. That means Microsoft and Facebook are trying to make the cable as future-proof as possible. It can evolve, technology changes, and demand increases for more data and higher speeds. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. But they got it done in 2 years. It's normally like a 5-year, 5 years to get a one of those type of cables laid in. So they really made good time. Is your kids' data bills just killing you, or is it tied to your current phone plan? Have you thought about Cricket or Straight Talk? I mean, we hear those advertised all the time. So think about Cricketer Straight Talk, and the folks over at Android Central put together a um, basically a breakdown of how much their services cost, what you get, what the coverage looks like. So I'll have that link up in the show notes for those of you that are thinking about getting some phones consolidated or maybe even your own. Also, there's a $48 Yi home camera, records in 1080p with night vision and motion detection. I've never seen this camera before, but at $47.99 on Amazon, I'm definitely going to want to check one of these out and see how it works as compared to the Nest camera. Um, it's a lot cheaper. So I may grab one of these. Have any of you got one of these? A Yi, again, YI technology. It's a Yi, again, called a Yi home camera. Um, it's normally like 70 bucks, but it's on sale right now for $48. And I'm going to grab one. I'll let you know how it goes, but worth it to give it a try. Even if I put it on the back porch and it only lasts a year or so. Another vantage point that I'd like to have covered on some camera positions that I don't have 100% coverage for. But we talked about at the beginning of the show, me having a little bit too big of indulgence on Friday. Well, Lifehacker's got a good article, how to keep properly hydrated on a long flight. And if you're flying, don't do as I did. Read this article, learn how to stay healthy. Because if you go start into a flight dehydrated, it's gonna be a long, long, long flight. I'm just telling you. And stay away from the booze on the flight. That's gonna exasperate things. Alphabet is saying that their internet balloons could talk to your phone by 2019. Now, they're going to be doing this initial balloon project, I believe, down in Peru. Maybe that's kind of the what I'm reading into the article. And I begin to wonder here, I'm thinking about balloons. Balloons are always on the move, right? There's winds, and, how do you keep these balloons from, like, just departing the scene and ending up somewhere you don't want them? Well, they answer that in part by saying that they're going to be able to change altitude, inflate or deflate the balloon a little bit, lower or raise its positioning to be able to keep it in roughly the same location. I thought this was pretty slick. And I guess it makes sense. But if you have a prevailing west wind, is there enough current differential to basically keep a balloon in the same area? It seems to me pretty fantastic that they would be able to do that. So maybe someone out there is a balloonist and can talk a little bit about this, but we understand the technology. They put basically internet relay technology into the balloon. They put it at a high altitude and instant internet, right, in conjunction with your mobile company. So again, how do you keep them in a central location? I still have some questions, but they try to explain it. So must be there's some science. They must know what they're doing here. There's a pretty cool app. It's called Kids Meals. Well, and it's not called Kids Meals. There's an app that tells you where to get free kids meals every day of the week. You know, kids meals aren't usually anything to get excited about. But free kids meals, that's a different story. Kids Eat Free is a free crowdsourced app on iOS and Android that lets you instantly find local restaurants offering these types of specials. Just enter your city and zip along with the day of the week, and you're on your way to some free chicken tenders or sliced apples. Half the time the kids don't hardly eat anything anyway, right? So you go in and you eat, and the kids eat free. Save yourself a few bucks. Don't have to order off the kids' menu. Awesome. For those of you who have, of course, those of you that are 20 or 21 or 18, you probably can't order off the kids' meal. You're going to have to buy your meal. There's a report out that smartphone GPS systems are going to start getting a lot more accurate. According to IEEE Spectrum, Broadcom is starting to make a mass market GPS chip that can pinpoint a device accuracy to within 30 centimeters. That's compared to today's GPS solutions, which typically have a range of 3 to 5 meters or up to 16 feet away. That relatively large error range is what can make it so hard for your phone to tell if you're on a highway or on an off ramp or on off ramp. This new generation GPS chips is supposed to solve those problems, and Broadcom reportedly told IEEE Spectrum that its new chips will start appearing in some smartphones next year. The improved accuracy is thanks to a newer GPS satellite broadcast that gives your phone additional information it can use to refine your position. Broadcom tells IEEE Spectrum that there are now 30 satellites that support the new standard. Next year, the right moment to launch. Now, just remember, in case of war, uh, your GPS location can change. That's all I will say about that. You can read up that on your own. An iceberg 4 times the size of Manhattan broke off a glacier in Antarctica. This is part of the Pine Island Glacier that has lost chunks of it since 2009 or so. So another big piece chunked off, and now we got one big floating ice cube down there. Happened a few days ago. So this continues to be concerning. We don't want to get to where we reach dirt. That'll be not a good thing. Lyft's app for driving. I didn't do any tonight before I started the show. No energy booster or nothing, but my nose, it's been fine all day. Immediately, I start doing the show, it starts running. It must be something to do with me talking and getting vocalized and driving me nuts here. I'm sitting here wiping my nose like a snot-nosed brat. It's disgusting. So those of you watching, I'm sorry. It's can't help it here. Either that or I have, it won't be pretty running down my lip. Hey, Lyft's app for drivers is getting a major overhaul. They're making a lot of updates for their drivers in order to connect with their tech support or their support team. And I was talking with a gal that was driving Lyft, and she says now that she can actually call and talk to someone within the company when she's had a problem with a rider or something to that effect. They don't have to send email anymore. So anyway, if you're a Lyft driver, look for that app update coming soon to a phone near you. BMW is set to offer a pad to wirelessly charge your car. They're close to rolling out wireless charging on one of its cars, and this time it doesn't involve phones. The feature's already there, but being able to wirelessly charge your car is new. It's a really big change, charging pad for the 530e high-performance plug-in hybrid. The BMW pad connects to a 220-volt outlet and will charge your car in about 3.5 hours. So any of you that can afford that 530e high-performance plug-in hybrid, within the next year or so, you'll be able to have a charging pad instead of a charging plug. Those of you that live in the UK, M&S is tentatively trialing a 1-hour food delivery. If you're sick of Uber Eats, get an M&S ready meals delivered instead. So again, Mark and Spencer is finally coming around to the idea of letting customers order food online for speedy home delivery. The upmarket retailers confirm is taking some very tentative steps with a home delivery service in the Camden area of London and a collection of options in Woodley near Reading in the UK. So just be aware that's coming to an area near you for those of you that live and listen to the show that live in London. Ex-Vice President Joe Biden will give a daily news briefing on Echo and the Google Home device, which is curious. The former VP wants you to know what's in his mind. He's teamed up with a team to basically, he's going to pick headlines, and then he'll go over the headlines that are going to be covered. Then a team will come in and tell the story behind him. So he's getting behind some stuff going on with daily briefings for the Echo or the Google Home device, okay? A little bit of an interesting move here. President Trump's ex-campaign manager reportedly tried planting a mole at Facebook. And emails reveal that Bannon wanted to keep tabs on Facebook's hiring process. Former chief White House strategist, Steve Bannon, had designs to infiltrate Facebook's hiring practices leading up to last year's election, according to BuzzFeed News. The aim was to flood the zone with candidates of all stripes who report back to uh, the their team. I guess. Oh, he was going to have him report back to Milo Yiannopoulos about the job application process. Or was he trying to do this for his media magazine or online media site? Or was he doing this? It's not real clear here who was going to get that data, but looks like they were looking for dirt on Facebook if they were turning away probably conservative applicants. So we'll see if this develops into anything. It's again one of many stories that continues to go on in the news space and not really focusing on the stuff that's important, like the people in Puerto Rico that need help right now, the people down in Key West, all that stuff. Uber CEO is calling for change following the London setback, and of course, Uber is having their license revoked. They're not going to be able to do business in London proper. So I don't know exactly what has happened here, but there's 40,000 drivers catering to the growing demand in and around London. I'm sure part of it is that the cab drivers there are not happy about this. But there's more than 3.5 million Uber users in London that are going to have to go without Uber here. But maybe he'll get the company's act together and get that cleaned up. Rumors already abounding about next year's 6.46-inch iPhone X. You know, the first iPhone X hasn't even released yet. We're already hearing rumors about its successor. And so we'll see what happens here. But the first generation iPhone X is 5.8. They say the next one will be 6.46 inches. That's getting awful big. But again, rumor control already. Comcast cable services go box free on LG TVs in early 2018. So if you're a Comcast cable subscriber and you're going to be able to get Xfinity TV without a set-top box, but your choice of TVs have been limited. And if you like Samsung, you've been able to do this already. But if you have there's going to be a wider selection of LGs in 2017 and 2018. So and some 4K sets as well. So anyway, that's cool. No box is always awesome. Fitbit is its first smartwatch and wireless headphones. The Ionic and Flyer go on sale globally October 1st. Again, Fitbit has announced the globally availability of two of its new product lines with its Ionic smartwatch and Flyer wireless headphones, hitting retailers on, again, October 1st. The $300 Fitbit Ionic is the company's first ever smartwatch and sports GPS heart monitoring rate technology, including support for Fitbit Pay. So I'm sure the headphones are tied to it as well, giving you heartbeat information and all that kind of stuff. If you do have loved ones in Puerto Rico that are you're still having troubles getting through to, Univision has offered up to-date info about damage in Puerto Rico. You know, the news out of there is horrible. It's kind of like Guam, no power for months. And one thing we didn't have in Guam was a dam, but they do in Puerto Rico. But Univision News is trying to make that easier. They built a tool at univision.com. I'll have the link up in the show notes to be able to grab it direct and probably get it directly from their website. The GoPro Hero 6, we talked about this already. There is a launch date. GoPro sent emails to press confirming it's going to conduct a launch event this coming Thursday, September 28th. The launch will happen in San Francisco. And I emailed my contact at GoPro. Have not heard anything back. But it's supposed to be a 12 megapixel camera for K60 frames and good up to 33 feet underwater. So the Hero 6 Black available here directly. YouTube is also employing new advertising technology, automatically personalizes ads. It can now target using Google Maps and via the app and so forth. So these are tools for marketeers. So expect your advertising hopefully will be a little more targeted, something that you can actually use instead of ignoring. Well, the chickens come home to roost. Disgraced American politician Anthony Weiner has been sentenced to 21 months behind bars for, well, showing something he shouldn't be showing to a underage girl. And he only got 21 months for this. He is going to have 3 years of probation, but 21 months behind bars and 3 years probation for sexting an underage girl. Now, how long is he going to have to do in jail? Um, so the sentence did not come as a shock. Weiner agreed back in May not to contest a jail sentence of between 21 and 27 months for transmitting sexual materials to a minor. At the time, he appeared to finally understand the depths of his addiction. Yeah, he doesn't understand. He got caught. Um, he's going to be fined $10,000 and will be required to register as a sex offender. He has until November 6th to surrender to the low security prison court that the court will designate. And he could have done 10 years here. But anyway, I don't know if his wife is still married to him or if they're still together or not. But 21 months in the slammer. I'm sure ex-presidential candidate Hillary Clinton will be happy with that because she attests some of his stuff to her loss. Amazon has slashed prices on 4K content in response to the Apple TV 4K launch. So one of the many announcements of Apple's keynote a couple weeks ago was 4K movies would be added to iTunes at the same price as HD content. So Amazon's 4K video selection is not only limited in comparison to Apple's, but is incredibly expensive with purchasing running over $30. This price was comparable to services like Vudu and Google, but Apple worked out a deal to offer 4K HDR movies at $19.99. So over the weekend, it appears the prices for 4K titles on Amazon's videos are now starting around $5, with new releases in the range of $7 to $19. So there you go. Gotta have a 4K TV to support 4K videos. In-flight, Netflix will be available on more airlines in 2018. Netflix in-flight streaming is available through a few carriers around the world, but it's far from a staple of air travel. More often than not, technological limitation will force you to download that new show. But what they're doing is, when you do get 4K on airlines, they're just putting a hard drive on there. They're updating it so you can get access to Netflix while you're flying. So that's how a lot of that works. It isn't that you're streaming it. That'd be crazy to do that. And if they are, that's news to me. You'd think you'd want to put a hard drive with all the movies on it, right? Google Home has added reminders to its voice control repertoire. So you can tell the device, remind me to take mom her birthday present next month. Set a date. It'll set a reminder. I like that kind of a reminder where it reminds you about anniversaries and birth dates and special events and stupid things going on. So use these devices to keep yourselves out of trouble, ladies and gentlemen. Platoons of autonomous Freightliner trucks will soon be driving across Nevada and Oregon. Dallmeyer will send coordinated pairs of self-driving semi-trucks on selected highways in both states. Most of the self-driving truck attention is resolved around Tesla's much-teased reveal of its EV big rig next month, and all the auto companies rushing to introduce their own electric models. But the autonomous truck folks at Dahmer, who've already been practicing or testing or using this overseas and in Europe, are going to be engaging in platoon testing on highways, and again in Oregon and in Nevada. Truck drivers that you're out there, I'm telling you, 10 years, things are going to change big time. Get on the side of technology that's going to allow you to move into the next phase and support these autonomous trucks. Google paid Apple how much money? 2 billion or 3 billion? Apple is switching the default provider of its web searches from Siri search inside iOS in Spotlight and Mac. So, for instance, if Siri falls back to a web search on iOS, when you ask it a question, you're now going to get Google results instead of Bing. And so Google paid. I don't see it in this article, but $3 billion I think they're going to pay annually to have Google search results first. Smart, smart on Google, and congratulations to Apple to getting that big fat check. How many of you got to see the CBS Star Trek? Did any of you see it? What did you think? I've heard mixed reviews. Some people I've said they hated it. Some people say they loved it. I haven't seen it yet. But for some reason, CBS Showtime websites were caught mining crypto coins in viewers' web browsers. Someone placed a JavaScript code on two primetime.coms, and so far, it's a mystery. The websites of U.S. telegiant CBS and Showtime contain JavaScript that secretly commandeered viewers' web browsers over the weekend to mine cryptocurrency. I didn't even know this was possible. This is an actual company that makes this available to companies that want to basically make money from people visiting their website and using the CPU usage while they're there. It's kind of brilliant, but not, if you see people all of a sudden seeing their CPU spikes every time they visit your website, they would start asking some questions. Over on Kinja Deals at deals.kinja.com, you can save $1,000 on a Samsung 65 Quantum Dot powered 4K TV. Samsung's Quantum Dot powered Q7 TV isn't exactly easy on the bank account, but you can save $1,000 on it. Yes, when you go see the price, the current model sells for $2,800, but you now can get it for $1,800 from a company called Massdrop. So I have the link up in the show notes on that. So if you're in the market, this might save you some money. Stop searching for a place to plug in and charge. You can carry the $5 RAV Power mini battery pack in your pocket. I'm a big fan of RAV Power. I like their stuff. And for $5, you can get one of these little pocket chargers, enough to keep you going during the day and not have to carry around a big hunkin' brick to do it. Best Buy has discounted the 10.5 iPad Pro 64 gig by $100. So we know that Apple recently raised the prices of some iPad Pro models, but this week you can find other dropping in cost at least a little. Again, Best Buy is selling the 64 gig 10.5 inch iPad Pro for $550. That's $100 off the standard price. This is the 2017 model of the Wi-Fi only iPad Pro that features the A10X Fusion chip and the 4 gig of RAM. So just a little bit of info there, okay? Link will be up in the show notes on more of this sales. Now, if you've got some real money to spend, the Chevrolet Camaro GTR.R, like Chevrolet Camaro GT4.R can be yours for just a low price of $259,000. 480 horsepowers that's bolted to a 6-speed X-Track sequential gearbox with mag-aligned pneumatic paddle shifters. The 3,000-pound racer will just absolutely get you thrown in jail. But if you got $259,000 to buy it, you can afford bail. And the stupidest thing I've seen in a long time, and you may be Levi fans, there's probably not a human on the planet that doesn't like Levi's. But, there's not a lot of people that can wear a Levi jacket well. But the Levi jacket with a smart sleeve, yes, smart sleeve, is finally going on sale. It's only $350. Come on, website, load the doggone picture. So, Project Jacquard Levi Smart Jacket, and you tap it to make your phone do things. I think this is the stupidest thing useless. This is for hipsters with way too much money on their hands. But it gives you the tap sequences you can use. Please, if anyone buys this jacket, please tell me if it's really useful. And send me a picture of you in the jacket interacting with this thing, okay? I think it's the stupidest thing ever. Everyone loves Levi's, but a smart Levi jacket? Come on. Let's get real. Really, I'm seriously here. Okay, that's going to bring us to the end of the show tonight. We got through all the content. Bam, bam, bam. Got through fast. Let's see what we've got for email. Today is the 25th. I got an email from Near. He said, "Hey Todd, I'm currently using the Bose Sound Sport Bluetooth. Same Near. It's the same headphones I have, and have been doing so for about a year. As you indicated, audio quality is great or as good as the wired IMIE2, which I previously used for several years. I still have it. My wife now uses it regularly. This is quite an achievement for her, as any and all earbuds that she had ever tried in the past did not work for her. The sound sport doesn't stay in my ear well while running. It does. I have problems with my right ear near, and it's staying in. It drives me. That's the only weakness of it. They need a insert that's just a little bigger. Just like I do, I have to periodically adjust it to bring it back into place. I tried the different optional wings that come with it. Same issue. Nothing comes close to the comfort and fit of the MIE2, which with the wired sports headset MIE2, I just put it in the beginning of a run and forget about it until the end, usually an hour and a half later. The other advantage of the MIE2 is that there's no need to recharge it. The issue with sound sport, I believe, is the actual weight of the earpiece itself, which causes it slightly shake and move once in or on your ear. Bose needs to bring it down to the size and weight of the MIE2. As a battery life, I find it to be a 10% per hour, as you indicated, should be good enough for a week. Yeah, and I have them cranked up. I got the blue ones, but yep. Thanks for that. I definitely appreciate it. So in the upper picture, you can see the difference in profile between the two. It's been my 2 cents worth. I have some more feedback, but that's the highlight. I agree with you here. I love these sound sport ones. The only thing is that my right earlobe must be a little bit smaller, and it just does, or larger actually, and it just doesn't fit as tight. Well, anyway, that was all the email. If you have comments on today's show, it's real easy to send your comment, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. It's been my pleasure to bring you the podcast tonight. Hope you had a good time hanging out with me here. Whether you've been on YouTube or on Facebook, or if you are listening later or watching the show on the Tech Podcast channel via the Roku device, or watching me on the Apple TV, or just load me up in the browser, whatever it may be, definitely. And if you're in your phone, in your car, when you send an email, let me know where you're listening, where you're tuning in, where you're catching the show. It's important for me. I see it in the stats, but I want to hear it from you. All right? And anyway, thanks for being here. We'll see you next Thursday and a Friday day release on the show. Geeknews@gmail.com. Thank you for supporting our sponsor. We'll see you next time. Everyone take care.